Hello, everyone. Welcome to the RC Plane Lab podcast. I'm Ron.
I'm Dave.
And I am Hank.
There you go, Hank.
Sorry, I was
Glad
turning
you
off
remembered.
my phone. Yes, sir. I'm back.
Oh, that's all right. Everybody, we have Hank Rauhaus. Did I get it right this time?
Excellent.
God, wonderful. From the Toledo RC Swap Meet and Expo. The man, the myth, the legend is back.
Wouldn't go quite that far, but man, what an entry. Thank you, sir.
We love you, Hank. I mean,
I am doing absolutely fantastic, man.
You are the face of this, and you have done so much work to put this on. And for us, this is one of our highlights of the year. Like being able to make it to Toledo for this swap meet is one of the things we look forward to every year. So thank you, first off, for all the work you put into it. And then I also want to find out what is new this year and how has the event evolved since last year?
Well, I'll tell you what, first of all, I can't tell you how much I appreciate those kind words because as I told you the last time we talked, I really thought this was going to be my golden egg, my rags to riches story, and it hasn't really turned out that way. But it's much, much more important to me because it's really turning into something that I feel that this is my way of giving back to the hobby. The hobby has been wonderful for me. The friends I've met, it's almost like family. And part of that was Toledo. And the thought that here we are in year 6, I can't believe I can say we're in year 6 because I'm still trying to figure out how we survived COVID in 2020 in year 1. It was, we didn't know what we were doing. It was crazy, but I will tell you this, last year, I think was the year everything finally really came together. When you take down those curtains and you see 75,000 square feet of over 800 tables full of RC goodness, it just doesn't get better than that. And you have commercial vendors and swappers and you have families and, that was last year was like, wow. And then after it was over, I'm like, oh no, that was the wow. What can we do this year? So going into this show, there were some things that we really liked last year that we can't bring into this year. And I guess the biggest thing is the RC racing. We had an oval track last year. That was a lot of fun. It was a lot of work. And in the end, the financial decision to not bring it back is what it basically was. And it drove that decision. We just didn't get the support of the manufacturers that we thought we would. The conversations I had with them was basically, hey, let's see how successful you are next year. And my thing was, well, the only way we can be successful next year if, you're part of the show. And it just didn't work out. So, we pivoted and we thought, we have that big space. So we did something, we went back to something we tried before. And I talked with Josh Bixler of Flight Test. And we've had conversations for the last 6 years. And I'm happy to say that finally this year, Flight Test will be coming to Toledo. And that is a huge thing for us. Yeah, I always say, well, that was a big one. Well, I can tell you, in my eyes, Flight Test is one of the biggest. And I'm going to tell you why right now. It's because they do something better than anybody else. And that's what they do for the kids, the families. And I have tried to incorporate that in the schools where I work. And I do okay. But when you go to Flight Fest and you see thousands of kids building 2-channel airplanes, going out and flying them with their moms, dads, there's nothing like it. And that's what I wanted to happen at Toledo. So I went to Josh in December. And I'm like, hey, man, we're going to try this with or without you, but please, I really hope it's with you. And I told him, I says, nobody does it better. And I believe that. And when they finally said, you know what, we're on board, we've had a lot of talk. So I'm really excited because they're going to bring their build tents. More importantly, though, we're going to have a STEM tent. And I tell everybody this, they are one of our platinum sponsors, which is a top level sponsor for us. And their gift to Toledo is, these kids are going to get to take home 2-channel airplanes and blimps for free. That's what I wanted. Right. It was sometimes it's like a match made in heaven, and money's not always everything. I'd rather see it geared towards something we enjoy. And so we'll have a STEM tent up and the kids will be there, and what they put together, they can walk right over and fly, and then they take it home. So I'm pretty excited about that. That is probably our biggest thing, but there's other things too. I can tell you by the numbers right now, guys, we're in for our biggest year ever. I know I said that last year, but numbers don't lie. And we have had an unbelievable amount of registrations as both swappers and even on the vendors. We lost a couple of my favorite vendors for various reasons, which are excellent reasons. One family moved back to Puerto Rico. I got to be honest, it's a long drive. That was my big RC trucks. I loved them. They had the big RC trucks and they
Oh
They
yeah, I
drive them
remember. Those
around.
were awesome.
They were
Yeah,
awesome. And
those were
you'll see one again next year. They might not be here, but you'll see the truck because we actually we talked about purchasing one of them, and then in the end to help finance their move, they sold it. But we're going to get back together. I talk to them all the time. They were a great part of the show. And then Samson RC Hobby, it was their first year, and it turns out Derek, a great guy. They're great to the show, and his real passion is also he does interiors for custom cars. So he
Oh,
is,
okay.
yeah. And so he was out at SEMA, which is a huge car show, and
Yeah.
the custom car interior he did won best of show there. So they're out in California, and they have a show that I guess is more important than the Toledo show. So that's where they're going to be this weekend. But the cool thing is they sent some ARFs up for us, so that's fantastic. But a lot of the regulars are back. Andrew Jetski's back with his wife Paige, and AG Aircraft is going to be full go. Got Innovative Designs. Those are mainstays, and I love seeing the old schools: Dubrow, Sullivan, Rich's Brew, B&B Specialties. And then this year too, which is different than last year, we have a lot of professional organizations we didn't have. So we have some clubs this year. The Vintage RC Society is going to be there. I think that's cool because that's something that's changing about our show. It's morphing. So I'm not going to lie to you. I'm at that point where I'm anxious and excited all at the same time, but there's nothing like day one for me right now. So real excited. Another big change is we're doing the auction Friday night because I want to bring back.
I was going to say, I like that idea. I really do, because so here's the thing with like among us, like our little group of guys here, one of the things we talked about is if you were doing the racing again this year, it would have been great to do that after hours Friday night.
Oh, that was always the plan.
Oh, was it really? Well, because honestly, when we're there during the day and swapping, I mean, that we need to be at the tables. We want to be able to do that and not have to go do the racing and stuff. But what I like about the Friday night thing now, it gives us something to do Friday night. We're in Toledo. We don't go out to eat. I mean, we'll grab a quick bite or something like that, but then we just go and hang out in the hotel room. This gives us something else to do, which is going to be awesome. I'm really looking forward to that.
And again, like everything, we're always constantly changing, and I loved the auctions the week singles had. Not going to lie to you. We're not going to have it over at the hotel because we can't afford it. But we got that big open area in the back we pull cars in, so we'll be back there. And I can tell you this: there'll be some things you've never seen, like at our auction. We're bringing in a real auctioneer this year. Cool. We got a great guy coming out of Indiana. I'm very excited for. And then another thing we're doing for sure, because my biggest thing about the auction is fun. It's like you said, it's the brotherhood, the sisterhood. It's doing what we're doing. But my team, the Toledo RC Swap and Expo team, we put together over a dozen different ARFs with donated engines, electronic parts, and they're all being sold at no reserve. Whatever they go for. And partial proceeds of that's going right to the AMA Foundation. So the foundation is going to be there. I really want people to see somebody win something and walk that cash over and put it in the foundation's hand. And this is it. I mean, this is what supports what we do. So we're putting all that together. I'm not going to lie to you, though. I am bringing back the cash bar. That was my idea. And it will be open after the auction because it gives us a place to do what you just said. You hang out in your hotel room. Let's all hang out together, sit down, talk, because that's what it's about. So the auction, I'm so excited for. And hopefully I'll get to snag a few good deals. We'll see.
That's how we're all hoping, or what we're all hoping for. So,
and
I like things we haven't seen very often. So that'll be cool too.
Well, it gives us a way, believe it or not, it helps us generate money because we're always looking for ways to generate money, because this might shock you. It didn't get cheaper this year.
Good.
No, it didn't. It didn't get cheaper.
Oh, I was going to say, I thought you said it did. And I was like, wait a minute.
No, right off the bat, the Glass City Center hit us with our new contract, and they're $4,000 just to rent the place. This is nearing a $50,000 budget, which if my wife knew that, well, it wouldn't be good because if people don't come through the doors, lordy. But that's just another way we can bring in revenue. Got some big raffle prizes again this year, giving away a 103-inch plug-and-play AJ Slick, the DA120, beautiful 75-inch T34C Menor, the 20cc engine donated from Valley View RC. So we got some nice raffle prizes again. It's the vendors. We got great vendors, man. But I'm very excited, and I also am excited to let you know that Tyler Dobbs, our AMA executive officer, the guy, He'll be at the show this year. And
good.
I don't know if you guys have talked about it much, but I'm a little leery. My group is a little leery about the FCC ruling that just came down.
Yeah, back in December.
Yeah, and I think there's a lot of conversation and not a lot of good conversation. So hopefully we're going to talk to Tyler about maybe talking about that a little bit too, so we can get some things clear, because, depending on how that's taken and what happens with that could change the face of the hobby yet again. And not necessarily in a good way. So, hopefully we can get some clear pictures from that too, and then for you sponsored pilots, guys that know how to fly, we do have that fly area. If you're not sure if you're good enough for the fly area, just go back and watch for about 2 minutes. You'll figure out right away whether you can or can't fly in that space, because we have some unbelievable sponsored pilots from Futaba, High Tech, AJ Aircraft, RA Corps, a bunch of guys back there flying. So everything's looking good, I hope.
Nice. So then it's going to be set up the same way this year as it was last year, as in we'll be able to drive in the night before with trailers and stuff and actually unload in the building. And
actually, something different again this year, because I wasn't ready for last year's numbers. On paper, it looked one way. When they started coming in, I'm like, oh my, it grew so much last year. I mean, when you grow almost 250 swap tables, that's huge.
Yeah.
So this year, I'm actually opening up swappers, not just commercial vendors, can contact me directly. They can come in Wednesday if they want to, because we have security starting Wednesday. And it just kind of frees up Thursday, so because last year, believe it or not, by the end of Thursday, 75% of all attendees already had their stuff in, so we don't call it a 3-day swap, but it is what it is, so I'm going to send a note out, hoping we get some guys coming Wednesday just to make it easier for everybody. Because I know leaving got to be a little tricky last year, but man, there's just no way we got some things in mind, but there's no easy way to get thousands of people out 2 doors, in about 2 hours.
No, you're right.
It doesn't work. The physics is not good. So hopefully some of the holiday spirit will still be around when we leave, because sometimes people get a little grumpy on the way out, because they're leaving the show and, they want to get home.
Well, nobody wants to be leaving, so that's what puts you in a bad mood. It's like that last day at Joe Knoll. Yeah.
I agree. So, I agree.
Well, so I want to ask you a little bit too. So this is now, you said your 6th year of doing this, so you've got a little bit of experience under your belt. What do you have difficulties with, or what's the hardest part of putting on an event like this with so many tables and with the more people showing up every year and with how much it's actually grown?
That's a fantastic question. And I joked about I joked about year one. Year one was survival. It was all about survival. And I made some poor choices along the way in, getting ready and during. And, I'm growing. I mean, it's going to be tough for me this year, but I think the biggest change for Hank, the Hank that everybody knows, is my wife even said that I got to dress a little different next year. And she's right. So this year I won't be wearing my traditional Toledo RC Swap and Expo t-shirt. I do have some green, more dress-like shirts. And I think because I have to transition from Hank the Swapper and to Hank the guy that's running the largest Expo left in the country. I don't want to say boss necessarily, but right. And last year I got caught, I'm always buying deals, and we bought 600 kits at the end, and my team alone had almost 100 tables and 4 guys. And with that racetrack, I had to stay back there the whole time, and I felt terrible at the end of the show because I didn't get to do what I love most, and that's talk to my vendors. And so I told myself at that time, I took 1 week off. I got right back into it. And I think that's another thing that really helped. Usually I take a couple months off. I can't anymore. The show starts the next day. When I went down to Joe Knoll, I'd like to tell you I was just there for fun. Nah, I was there knocking doors too. First of all, I went to every commercial vendor that came to Toledo and said, hey man, I'm so sorry. Because at the show this year, I don't think I paid enough attention to you. And I will never let that happen again, because our vendors are so gracious. So of course they would disagree, but that's how I felt. So I think, I'm growing up understanding my responsibility in the show. That I love swapping, but I go to 30 swaps before Toledo. So I guess I can take one off, even though it is the greatest, at least the greatest up here. So I think that growth is important.
I was going to say, that was one thing I was going to ask too. So you're not just the Toledo RC guy. You are, or the Swap Meet and Expo guy. You guys put on you go to a lot of different swap meets and stuff throughout the years. We saw you up by Chicago a couple weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, whatever it was. You had a bunch of tables up there. I know you said that you were going to, I saw online you're going to Dayton this weekend. You
went out to Iowa, Lebanon, PA.
Yeah.
Well,
you hit a lot of the main, like the bigger swap meets. How is that going? Like, what do you get away from, or what? Boy, I am long day. Sorry.
I got you, brother.
What are your takeaways from that? Like, what do you get out of that, and what is the goal of doing that?
Well, we started just a small swap in Toledo. Our small swap was bigger than most, but still just a small swap. And like I choose to run the Toledo show, I am very personal about it. I know your table numbers. I know where you guys are located. I know where my vendors are located. I'm the only one that can say that. I mean, and we're talking hundreds of tables, but it's important to me. When I saw you, I'm sure I asked. My wife just raised her hand. She knows them too, because she's the one that checks them with me to make sure they're accurate. But, I'm sure within the first 30 seconds, like, hey, man, you coming back to Toledo? That's how I am, because and I check you off. And you know what? If you guys don't pay online, your word is good with me. And that's one thing that I like, that personal touch. Some businesses don't do that anymore. I choose, that's how I want to do it. So I think that's important, which is why we go to the small swaps. If I want you to come to my show, what should we be doing? Going to the small shows. And on top of that, these small shows, we have two main clubs. We have the Tiffin RC Club and the Valley City RC Club. They're just a group of 50 guys, my buddies. We do this for you. Those clubs, we try to give them some money a little bit. This isn't about making money anymore. This is much bigger than that. And we go to these other swap meets. It's those clubs are trying to make their money, so we can help. We enjoy it too. But the advertising is key. But I'm not going to lie to you. This year, 33 swaps. We're feeling it right now because we have Dayton this week. Then we go four hours up into Michigan, and then we have Toledo. So we're gonna actually do a little reorganization there, because I don't know if my team can keep up with this. We have 4 main guys right now that do a lot of the swapping, and we love it. But it's a grind.
No matter how much you love it, sometimes it gets a little overwhelming.
Right, and that's even like going to Joe Nall last year, putting on a pop-up swap shop. What a corny idea, because I didn't want to bring my own stuff, and you know what? It actually worked out fantastic. Because what a great way to meet people.
Planes, so I
got it. Wasn't a plane. It was a museum masterpiece that brought many conversations. And that's why I say make offer, because the offer I got about fell out of my chair. But anyway, that's what it's about. That's what makes it fun. So that's why we do that. We go to the swaps, and why it's funny though. You go to Joe Nall, you go to Iowa, you go to Chicago, you see some of the same guys. And I'm not going to lie to you, but I like being Hank, the swap guy, but I also feel we do things right now, and there isn't a swap we don't go to where they sit me down and say, what can we change? How can we get more people through the door? To the point where I'll let you in on how you're the first one to know this. So I'll share some information with you.
Hot gossip.
Hot gossip. We are going to officially apply to become a special interest group with the AMA for swap meets and expos in the country. Because I think we have what it takes. And I think we do a lot for that arena. And again, it's just giving back. And I enjoy that.
Yeah, that is so cool. You should be proud of that. Actually, takes a lot of work to get to that point.
I have a very loving and understanding wife who will be running the raffle booth this year. Yes, sir.
So with all the different swap meets and stuff you go to, you really kind of see what is going. You see what's being sold. You see what's being collected. You see everything that's kind of going on. Do you notice any differences in the several years that you've been doing this as to what has been popular? Is it more vintage, more foam? You see more giant scale stuff getting sold. What's the hot item this year?
Here's the thing.
What should we bring to get rid of?
Here's the interesting thing that shocks me, and we saw it the last 2 years, and I think 1 year is a fluke, 2 years no way, but different pockets still love their nitro airplanes. And most swaps selling what I call flyers. They aren't the beauty queens. They're flyers. They're the ones that have been flown, sometimes flown hard. It's getting harder and harder to sell. Yes, sir. It's getting harder and harder to sell those. There are a couple swaps, Pot of Gold out in Iowa, Pot of Gold in Indiana, and then the swap out in Iowa and even Chicago. The nitro stuff was huge. And it was used this year again. So I think that's trendy.
Do you think Nitro's
kits.
making a comeback?
No. I think it's just those are pockets.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like this is going to sound out in Iowa. They've got a lot of fields, so doesn't it make sense? Chicago, I have no idea why. I think Nitro's going to level off though. I think the electrics, electrics have been around. It used to be, he's got electric. It's something new. I mean, that was 30 years ago. So I think that levels off. I think foam. Well, I think it's hard. What we see as foam is foam. You can buy a brand new airplane and try to sell it the next day, and you're getting 60, 70%. That's it. And, everybody might not want to admit that, but the market is only bears what the market will bear. So, it's wherever you go, it's going to be a buyer's market. Even down at Perry this year, some people were frustrated because sellers are trying to hold on to their things, but you got to understand, they remember what they paid for it. Toledo RC Swap and Expo, we're all about getting rid of, get something else. It'll all wash out. One thing I did notice that we've all noticed, kits. Kits had a wonderful run over the last 10, 12 years. We sell on eBay RC groups. They're starting to level off to the point now we're being able to sell kits at swap meets within 25, 30% of eBay pricing, which if you know anything about eBay, that's almost even money with less hassle. So we're doing, we're starting to sell kits a little easier that way. I forgot to tell you, that reminds me, just to let you know, I got some really unique things coming I'll come back to that. I got something else to tell you. Sorry.
Okay.
That's trendy though. Yeah, I do. I just remembered. And everybody always asks this question, and you might get it too. What's the best swap? Is that a good swap to go to? And my response is always the same. I don't know what you're looking for, because I've been to some small swaps and found the coolest things. I went out to Chicago last year and finally landed at triplane ARF I've been looking for that I could afford, under $800, $300. I mean, that was a great swap for me. Might not have been for you, but it was for me. One of the best little swaps I've ever been to is down in West Virginia, 25 tables. I mean, I had some of the coolest buys ever. I still have a lot of that cool buy, but I can't tell you. And I hate saying, well, this swap is bigger, this swap is better. No such thing. That's like, people want to compare Dayton and Toledo, like we talk about. Dayton has 350 tables. We got a little more than that. So what? That's a big swap. Perry has 1,200 tables. That's a big swap. I'm going to swap in a week that has 80 tables, but I might find something there that's just as good. You can't compare. We're all in this for the same reason, man. I'm there to beat you to whatever that good deal is. So,
and we're all looking for something different too. So that's
right.
That's the hardest thing. You could be so excited about seeing something where I'd be like, why would you spend any money on that?
That's what makes it the coolest. I mean, if you think about it, isn't that what's like awesome?
Yeah.
We don't fight over the same things. I don't know what you're fighting for. I happens a lot too. Look at what I got. I'm like, wow. But for you, man. And same with me. Yeah. So.
And that does remind me, by the way, talking about odd
I know you're going to say, I was just waiting.
What am I going to say?
You were going to say, Hank, last year you promised me something to bring to Joe Null, and I forgot it. Well, I will bring it. It wasn't
just Joe Null. It was to Toledo and Joe Null, but that's okay. Right. That's okay.
I still have it. The worst thing is I had to take it off the high shelf, got down to packing level. It's been there since last year. So I've seen it quite a bit. It'll make the trailer this year.
Okay.
It'll be well worth the wait. I promise. It will.
Okay. That's fine. Okay.
It'll be sitting on your table. You just have to decide how much you want to pay for it. Hey, real quick.
There's storage fees, I'm sure, for the last year. So I'm sure the price went up, right?
About $10,000. Anyway, real quick, man, I got to share this story with you. You got a second for a cool story?
I have all the time in the world for you, Hank.
So 4 years ago, I got a strange little email from a nice young Japanese lady up in New York. And she's telling me about her father's RC airplane and engine and another engine. I'm like, I hear this a lot. I hear about collections all the time. But the interesting thing about this particular story is her father owns 2 of the 6 Zimmerman 4-cylinder inline 4-strokes. There were quarter scales and 6 scales. He has 2 of the quarter scale ones, and they were built. That specific engine was built by Mr. Zimmerman for the Tiger Moth. It gets better. There are only 6. He has 2. One of his is actually in a Tiger Moth built by Mr. Zimmerman, who designed the engine. He has that. He bought it quite a while ago. He paid a lot of money for it. And this year it will be at Toledo. We'll try to sell it at auction. It'll be advertised on eBay and RC groups probably within the next week. But to think that I have something like that to me is, there are only 6 in the world. Yeah. I'll have in my possession 2, and one is built by the guy who built the engine, and all his private notes, the specs on the engines. I'm not doing it justice right now, but when you see it, you'll be like, holy moly. I have a what is it, MP3 file from 1987 of the maiden flight. Grainy as all get out, but that engine, when you hear him fire up that engine, holy moly. It's an absolutely beautiful situation. So I'm really excited for that to come. And anybody who comes to Toledo, I hate to say this, it's worth the price of admission just to see those things. And ultimately, I'm trying to help the family sell them. And we started this journey 4 years ago. And then the dad got sick. And then something else happened. And this is the year. We still have, 19 days? But everything's in place this year. So hopefully the family makes it in the beautiful airplane. So I'm excited about that. And when you see it, you'll understand. I'm not doing it justice right now, but and again, it gets back to that warm feeling about we're helping a family. We're showing something that you ain't going to see anywhere else.
Yeah. Those are the things I love. The things you won't see because, I mean, you have such a stage to show off things, to get the word out about things that a lot of people don't have. So being able to help people out like that is one of the things I think is really cool about your event, because you do draw a large crowd to it, and it's well known, and it's a diverse crowd. Yeah, diverse crowd, and grows every year. So
and last awesome. last year's paid attendance was 3,284. Which is pretty good. We needed every penny of it. But imagine that airplane I just described. And then, we had the static model competition this year that I'm still trying to figure out. You asked earlier. I'm still trying. So this year we're giving away $1,000 in cash prizes. We figured cash was king everywhere else. Why not on these static models? And we actually have a category like 3D printed. I don't think you'd ever think about seeing that at the Old Week Signal Show. We had a little disagreement last year, and I think you could appreciate this. I had an organization judging airplanes, and they didn't want to judge the foam airplanes as scale airplanes. Yet when you go to the AMA website and pull up the rules that we use, there's nothing that says you can't judge foam like a balsa built airplane. And so, this year I have a group of judges. I'm the only one that knows who they are. The judging will be done. Nobody else will know. They'll hand me over the winners. We have like 14 categories. So I'm really hoping this year, I could promise you, I already know some things coming. It's going to be some really cool stuff that, again, you haven't seen. I got tether cars coming from the 30s. Most people have never seen them. I mean, think of, and you're like, well, why would you display it? Because we can, right? When it's your own show, you can display what you want, and they're going to judge like everything else. So you're going to have your beautiful scale built models, your 3D printed models. I got a quarter scale truck coming. These are ones that I know. I mean, and that's, again, I love stuff like that. No more do I have to put my stuff on the table, and that's good for all of us. I had some airplanes out there.
Come on, well, what was that the other year you had out there?
The 10-foot Lazy Bee with 4 jet engines.
Lazy. I wanted to say Mud Duck, but I knew that wasn't right. Yeah, the Lazy Bee. That was a cool looking airplane.
Yep, nice. I love that airplane, and it was. I was trying to spur the others to want to bring their airplanes. I think they're starting to feel that the show isn't just about that unbelievable scale build. You know what I mean? So, and then Balsa USA stepped up. They're the sponsors this year of the static show. It's nice to be able to put cash on some things. I'm hoping it gets people interested. Some people are like, well, if you're getting money for this, why are you not? There goes, I guess you could say, some of our possible profit. Again, we're past that. This is about, I'd like to make a little money. It is what it is. As long as we're in the black. Last year we paid for our hotel rooms. That was a big bonus. That was the big thing last year, right? We paid for hotel rooms.
Sleeping in the van, huh?
Yeah. Well, some people, maybe, not me. I'm getting too old for that. So, but yeah, that the static. I forgot about the static model contest. So that'll be cool. It will be.
Are you going to have a People's Choice Award?
It's funny that you mentioned that. I did it the first 2 years. The first year we had 14 people vote. The second year we had almost 30 people vote. And to be honest, in the end, I don't want to say nobody cares because there are people that care, but I don't have a way. I can't figure out a way to do it where if you want to make sure somebody wins, they win. So that's why this year, the way we're structuring it is we have all these different classes, right? And then in the end, we have a 5th place, a 4th place, a 3rd place, a 2nd place. Those are all cash prizes. We have a best finished film, best finished paint, and then we have the Joe David Memorial Award, which is best show. But anybody can win. It's not geared towards anything. So there's no reason that, believe it or not, that a 3D print plane, if on this judge's scoring sheet shows that it wins, it wins. Now, I can promise you there are some things on the scoring sheet that 3D printed planes would have difficulties with, but that's okay. Because whoever put those planes out there, they just want people to see them. And how cool is that? Here we are, 2026. You have scale models, 3D printed models, foam models, aluminum models from the 1930s. I mean, that's just wild. And that's where we're at. So,
yeah, it's always neat to see the different airplanes and different models and stuff that are there, because I haven't been in the hobby for all that long. It's only been 14, 15 years now, whatever. So I wasn't around.
Few years.
Yeah, I know, right? So I wasn't around in the heyday, I guess, of Nitro, of all the stuff that's kind of phased out. So it's neat to go to some of these places where there are displays of things that are what's what I'm looking for lack of a better term, nice models. I mean, they're not junk. They're not things that, have 5 pounds of mold growing on them that somebody's trying to get $3 out of. It's an actual model that was flown 30 years ago and in good shape. And to me, it's neat to be able to see that kind of stuff, almost like museum pieces. And
that's what, last year we had Joe David. We had some of his airplanes there, and the feedback on that, some of these planes are 50 years old. The feedback was fantastic. They loved it. And that's good, because we surveyed people, and that was good. And I agree with you. But I think that's what's cool about swap meets. We always talk about what one's best. How many times you've been to a little old swap meet and there it's like, holy moly, there's this beautiful something sitting there, and sometimes they're priced okay, sometimes not so much. But I agree. It's finding the stuff you don't see anywhere else. The heyday of these shows, swap meets and the expos, there was no internet. There was no TV. That was it.
Right.
And we can never go back to that. But the static display is one of those things that whether I love or hate it, it doesn't matter. I'm telling you, people love them. And that's why I wish I could figure out how to make it better. And this year I've gone all in. I mean, we've spent money on it. We've got a sponsor. We have classes. I've talked to personal people. There's a gentleman coming up out of Kentucky named William Jackson. And he builds some unbelievable. He takes foam, just a regular foam airplane. And by the time he's done, from 3 feet away, it looks like it's a piece of glass. It's unbelievable art. I don't know how he can fly it. I couldn't because, sometimes bad things happen with foam. But it's stuff like that. So I reached out to him like, hey, man, you want to come up here? He goes, okay, thanks for asking. He's got a Facebook group, 3,000-4,000 people. And he flies turbines, but he loves doing these foam airplanes. Just some cool stuff. So fingers crossed, fellas, we'll get some nice stuff. Ron, you can put some stuff in there too. Nothing says you can't.
We don't have anything to put in.
Well, there's still time.
Okay, you're right.
That's right. I sold what you had last year at Joe Nall. That's right.
You did a good job on that one. That's impressive. So there are, with the different swap meets that we go to throughout the year, I consider some of them buyer swap meets, and I consider some of them seller swap meets. Toledo is unique in that it's both. Like I can tell you right offhand 2 swap meets we go to where I know I'm going to find something that I like, and I know it's going to be cheap. I can also tell you other ones that we go to where you go to look and you're probably not buying anything, but if you have something to sell, it's a good place to go. So having said that, as a vendor, not just us swappers, what kind of feedback do you get from the guys that are showing up every year about how Toledo compares to other events?
And I'm just going to go to the numbers because the show, like I said, it's going to be bigger this year. And I can promise you when shows grow, like let's talk about Perry. Perry's an unbelievable swap meet. You ever been to Perry? You've been down to Perry, right?
I have not, no. That's a bucket list thing, but...
Well, let me tell you something. I tell everybody it's worth the drive one time at least to see it, because it's 1,200, 1,300 tables. And I talked to the guy that organizes it, when I was going through some of our growing pains. And it's the same conversation down there. It's just the buyers and the sellers. And it's everyone's different for Toledo, you asked about. So it's all about numbers. Every year we've increased at least 15% in swappers and attendance. Last year was almost 20% in swappers. This year I don't know the numbers yet, but I can promise you it's more. The only way that happens is everybody's happy. You have buyers that are happy. You have sellers that are happy. It's an amazing thing. If you want some fun, and maybe you do this, just sit and watch the transactions. Because as they walk away, the buyer's like, man, I stuck it to that guy. The seller's like, man, I stuck it to that guy. And then everybody's smiling. You know what I'm talking about? What's the best trade in the world? Where everybody's happy. And that's all you see.
The only right price is the one where you're happy for selling it and they're happy for buying it.
And that's that's the one thing I believe, and this is just my belief. I think that these shows take on the aura whoever runs the show. I believe that. And people that know me, I'm a fun-loving guy. I like to have fun. I like to make a little money. I like the family. My wife just said very little. That hurt a little bit. It's true, but the thing is, though, when you go to Toledo, you feel that warmth, and you see smiles everywhere. I mean, I told my wife I'm having my buddy who's he runs a little he makes those hats with those cool leather patches. He'll be up front. I can't remember Tony's business. Lanyards by Tony. Lanyards by, and he made these sweet hats last year. He only made 5 of them. They were sold in about 2 seconds. So he's bringing one for me just so I can give it to this gentleman who comes with his brother from Turkey every year. They always come. They always barter. We beat each other up. Everybody's happy. They give my daughter candy from Turkey. And last year he gave me a club hat. So I want to repay him this year. And that, to me, is, I can't wait. But I mean, I remember and in the end, we're both smiling. I can't tell you what I sold him. I don't care. He was happy. I was happy. Everybody's happy. And I remember when I sold the Week Signal show. I don't know, Ron, if you ever came upstairs, but I used to sell at the old Week Signal show. I'd have 55 tables of swap, biggest swap in the area. We literally would post signs. Everything's for sale. We sold the trailer. And by the time Saturday evening came, it was all gone. Hundreds of planes. I gave planes away. It didn't matter, because there's a point where you're good. Everything's good. And that's what I love. They would come to us because everybody will tell you can buy from us. We call ourselves liquidators, but I can promise you we make our money too. But that's what it's about. When everybody's happy, so I just wish I wish I'd be make a little more money being happy, but it's still good.
Sometimes you don't need a lot.
No, you buy, sell to curb your appetite of buying. That's what I tell people.
Oh, I get that completely. Because you never know what you like until you have it.
That's why I started Turbine Jets. I wish I would have never started that one.
No,
my wife just said me too. I love Turbine Jets. My buddy who sells the swaps, whenever I barter with him, he just looks at me and goes, jets are expensive. That's why I got to pay up. So I feel it now.
See, Tommy is a turbine pilot now. So am I. And we're trying to get Dave to find something. We'll get him one of these years.
Well, I got an old school turbinator with a 120 on it. I absolutely love it. Old wood, kit built, retro, in the 160s. That's fast enough right now, but maybe something else later.
Great. Yeah.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah. So how do you balance? Okay. So going to Toledo, you have a good group of vendors and you also have a good group of swappers. How do you balance where that line is? Like, it used to be the front part was all vendors, back part was all swappers. Now it's morphed into one area as it grows. And also a second part to this.
Wow. Follow up.
What happens when you outgrow that place?
I wish you would have asked that. Let's go back to the happy question, the first one. Believe it or not, I always felt this bothered me because the Toledo Week Signals, when they would have their show, even as the show shrunk, you have to understand the last year the Week Signals had their show, the black curtain area we have now, it was about the same size. You know what I mean? But we were always upstairs. The swap meet was always upstairs, and it drove me nuts. So I told myself, if I ever do a show, I'm going to be on the main floor. So, 6 years later, we're on the main floor. But we have vendors in with us too. Some vendors want to be with the swappers. I love the curtain area. I do. I want that area, but I love guys that want to sell wherever they want. And I hate to say it like this, and I always tell everybody, we're always going to have enough room for everybody. Well, I'm going to be honest with you. Eventually, I guess if we have that problem where we're getting too big, we're going to have to make decisions. I don't foresee that right now. I mean, if our projected growth continues on the path it's on, we probably still have another 4 or 5 years. So we have to breach that decision. I don't have an answer right yet. We'll come up with one, but I really love everything being on one floor. I love there being no wall dividers. I love it just wide open. But we still have a lot of space back there. I don't know how to get all the people in and out without that big open area to turn around in. So that's something we lose that. What you did know is last year, before everyone came, we mocked it up with tables. We brought our own trailers in to see how small we could get to where it was still workable. So we do have some space, but believe it or not, it's not a lot. On the other side, of course, we have more. So I don't have a good answer yet. If I come to that problem, what a wonderful problem to have.
I agree.
Because I really want to keep it up. 2 reasons. I want to keep it one room. One, because we control who pays admission, which I say tongue in cheek, but we need that admission. Number 2, I just love it because you feel like it's all together. I love that feeling when you start putting things out in rooms, like at Dayton. I love Dayton Swap, but one thing I don't love about Dayton is you have the 2 buildings. And if you're not in the main building, you're in the other one. It doesn't matter. That main building is the main building. Even with Perry, you're either in the main building or one of the other ones. You know what I mean? That's that feeling. And I like it all in one area. Or we could go to smaller spaces.
We were the other one.
Instead of an 8-foot table, we go to, like Lebanon does, 5-foot spaces.
No,
that's
no,
Lebanon.
No.
Yeah, Lebanon, PA, actually, they line their tables up like we do, and they're 5-foot spaces. $30 a 5-foot space. No chairs.
Oh, the chairs are not. I mean, they're you have to.
Yeah, imagine
especially for a swap that's 2 days, you have to have.
The first year we went to Lebanon, we didn't know the no chair thing. Got out there, we're like, oh my Lord. So we learned
somebody go to the store and buy some folding chairs.
We actually did that. We went to a gas station, so I got some of those camp chairs. It was pretty comfortable, But that's for real. So no good answer yet, bud. But I hope to have that problem, and then we'll solve it.
Like I said, every year we have been. So this will be, if this is your 6th year of doing it, this will be our 5th year of going, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, right. So because we missed the first one. The first year it was just Tommy and I, and we went just to buy stuff. We didn't have tables or anything like that, but we've had tables every year since then. And yes, it has grown and it has gotten to be much more impressive. Let's put it that way, since we started going.
Yeah. And that's what I'm hoping this year is with Flight Test there. I want AMA and Flight Test to have conversations again, because they had them. I mean, if you go online, you can see Flight Test at the old Ram shows up in the East Coast. And the nice thing about Toledo is there is one politic. It's the politic of Toledo. We're all there for the same reason. And both Flight Test and the AMA talk about community. Well, if you talk about community, you should probably all belong at least some part of the community. And the one thing that I think AMA really struggles with is the education department. I mean, sometime I'll share with you my personal stories, because remember, I'm a middle school teacher, and this year I got a whole bunch of grant money to go out and buy things. And I went to the AMA first. Well, I ended up with Flight Test for a reason. And it's okay. I know that the AMA and Flight Test had a little falling out, but it's been years ago and it's time. And I'm hoping this year at Toledo, maybe we can at least have that first sit down, because you got Tyler there, you got Josh there. Why not?
Let bygones be bygones, and
we need kids, right? I don't agree with everything anybody does. I'm sure you don't either, but we have to look at the greater good sometimes. Like if I looked at you and said everything about Toledo is perfect just how I want it, I would be lying to you. I've done things already. I've talked about things today that I don't like, but you know who does like them? The people that go, my family members, the community. And that's why you do what you got to do. So the STEM is important to us, because if we don't start getting kids involved, they don't have to worry about Toledo, because there won't be a need for Toledo. And I think for Flight Test, I think clubs are important. They have that big, huge family, but it's time to think about getting these kids in clubs too. So, that's a side gig, but
Yeah, that's one thing that the two clubs that I belong to, we are lacking in younger participants. Let's just say the average or the mean age of members is
And mean is real.
yeah is high, and getting older every day. So yeah, you're right. I mean, there needs to be a lot of outreach. And I think the new president of the AMA, we talked to him, that Greg Stone, before he was elected.
Yep.
I think that's one of his goals too, is to actually get out there with STEM and get some of the younger kids involved. So
yeah, and this is the thing, and this is where, yeah, and I agree, STEM is important, and this is where I know the AMA understand the importance. If you know anything about the AMA and how they have partnerships with some fantastic organizations, and it would take, to me, building a STEM program from the inside out is going to take years. It will. That's if you start right now, when there could be an organization around that has a turnkey system that works just fine. And I would say better than fine. So I agree. We got to get that going, man. And I hope Toledo could be the place where it all starts. That would make me happy.
The round table shall be set up, and you will feed them, and you will give them drinks, and you will make them happy. And I will give them
more drinks. Yes. Have you ever been to Flight Fest? You've not been to Flight Fest?
No, I have not.
All right, we got to talk about that. I'm going to be honest.
I was going to say, I'll be honest, I'm probably one of the minority in the hobby, in the fact that I have never built or flown a flight test airplane.
Well, if it makes you feel better, I am with you in that minority. Now, I have flown. I have never built, but at flight tests, because I wear the green Toledo RC Swap and Expo shirt, I'm immediately an expert. So I have flown and tried to fly many, many, many different things after checking for CG. Making sure the prop spin in the right way, making sure the receiver's set up the right way. But I will tell you what, I want to invite you guys right now. You ever want to come to Flight Fest, just let me know, and I will set you up my team. I'm just telling you, you will leave. It'll change your mind about something. I don't want to say change your mind. You can't. The feeling is something that I can't explain. I didn't even believe it. Like, it can't be this good. Well, it is. So I would love, and the best thing is, everybody's sent around flying, but we love to do anyway.
And so I hate to compare, but for me to wrap my mind around things, I need to compare it to something I know. So compare Flight Fest with what you and I both know as Joe Knoll.
Good question. That's a great question. Okay. The biggest, Joe Knoll is, in our hobby, is the granddaddy of them all. They have what? I think they're going to see that they have 600-700 pilots. No, they say 600 pilots to get their plaques, I think, this year. So they have 1,000, right?
Yeah. I thought last year was like 11 or 1,200 registered pilots. I could be wrong.
Great. Nope. And you have everything all over the board. You have your 3D line over here. You have your jets over here. You have the electric and the water here. So to me, Joe Knoll is like pockets of great things. And then you have those demonstrations. It's all fantastic. Flight Fest is not like that. Flight Fest is something a little different. They do their parades of airplanes, but they're different things. And the weird thing is, like at Flight Fest, you see very expensive airplanes flying. You don't think you would. Or like when we sold the swap meet. This is our third year selling them. There's a swap, with a swap tent. And we finally started bringing, normal airplanes, non-flight test stuff. We killed it, man. Shockingly, They don't just fly flight test. And we started 2 years ago with foam. They love foam. But this last year, dude, we brought everything, including balsa. Yep, all of it. We had nothing left to sell. We were done a day and a half early. We ran out of stuff to sell. And we had probably almost 100 airframes, And so it's just, it's hard to compare because, and this is monetarily, you have to look at Joe Knoll. Joe Knoll is, for anybody, is not a cheap venture. It really isn't. I don't think.
No, it's very expensive.
Even for what you guys did. You guys, if I were to live at Joe Knoll for a week, not with TGK connectors, I would definitely be down the electric line by the water. I love that stuff. That's my people. But I know people over in the 3D land, but let's talk about that. Way in the corner, you have 3D. And that's a great community. But they kind of pocket off a little bit. And there's nothing wrong with that. Where a flight test is just one big pile of people. Not good or bad. It's just it's hard to compare. And the other thing is, of course, it's all electric at Flight Fest. But it's not, I had the same thing you're thinking. When I think of flight test, I think of cardboard airplanes. Build, fly, crash, repeat, right? Here's the funny thing, though. Flight test now has build, fly. Don't forget to get your Aurora 5 gyro and our little free sky radios because we could keep it from crashing. Do you know what I mean? So even they're understanding a little bit of change. But there's two different worlds. And but like I had a great time with Joe and all, but if you would ask me right now, where I'd rather go, Flight Fest. But that's me. You know, I love the kids, the families. I'm an educator. That's what I like. You know, and that's not that I don't like Joe and all. I like Joe and all too. But it's just that's just something different, man.
And no, I don't remember. Did you stay on site at Joe and all? I
did. Oh man, they set the vendors up. I mean, the way I got to Joe and all was Charlie, who owns TGK. I'm like, I'm not going. He goes, I'll pay for everything. I'll go to Joe and all with you.
Sounds good.
So he literally paid for my tent space for the Toledo Swap and Expo. And with that, we got a real nice premium camping site. Literally, I had a golf cart, but even I can walk it. You know, just I don't know, 100 yards away. So very
okay.
nice.
So you guys are up behind that barn then, just off to the one side of the swap, right?
Yes. If you know where my tent was, if you look at the front of my tent and look out left, those campers were right there. It was fantastic.
I got you.
Still, don't worry though, 4 inches of water, but fantastic. I will be bringing those rubber boots this year that I heard about and thought, how bad could it be? Oh, was I a fool?
Yeah, it's bad. Yeah, it always happens. You get 1 or 2 days of rain. When it's rain, it's not sprinkles. You need boots.
Yeah, it was. Charlie and his dad were so happy, and I was happy but wet. But I learned. But yeah, it's just two different things, man. But I would tell everybody to go to both things because again, flying's flying, and you know, like the amazing thing is like last year, you see some crossover because like Kiki Flex Innovations, you know, when they come, they put on demos. Lane Walker, who's an AJ Aircraft sponsor pilot, he has his 100cc big and down there. He ripped it around. You know, so you have crossovers. And the other thing this is my ignorance. I didn't realize that Flight Test would have pilots that can fly like precision 3D. Oh, they do. You know, and some are 10 years old. Yes. And I was the same way.
That makes me so mad.
I
do that at
10-year-old pilots either. But like last year, we're selling balsa electric airplanes for more money than we can sell it, you know, a swap. Like we have stuff in my hangar right now that's saved for Flight Fest because we know we make more money. But to see these kids buy it from us, throw a receiver in it and go fly it within 10 minutes and then fly it all weekend. This one dude bought a cute little 450 size E-Flight Sukhoi. Flew it all weekend. On the last day, he destroyed it. Oh. And it made us feel so bad, you know. And he looked at us and goes, why? Because I had probably 100 flights on this thing. It was fantastic. You know, that's a 13-year-old. You know, I'd have been crying. He was like, this is what it is, man. I guess I shouldn't have pulled so hard. The wing fell off. I'm like, I saw it. Full speed snaps do not do well. And it didn't. So, you know, but it's wild.
Yeah, we'll have to keep that in mind. I don't know about this year, but maybe next year we can try and hit.
Yeah, seriously. I mean, I'm not going to say we have a pretty good end, but we have a pretty good relationship, and you don't have to feed yourself. We'll take care of all that. You have to figure out where to sleep you, but depending on where it's at, there's always hotels, but it's worth it. If you have a place to go, and that's what, I mean, I have a team down there. Last year we had 9 guys with Toledo RC Swap at Expo. It was kind of funny. And they all said the same thing. If you wear this shirt, they think you know things. So even if you don't, it doesn't matter. Just stand around, look cool. The kids come up, you know. Yeah. And then we flew into combats too. I'm not going to lie. I love that stuff. You know, we flew a 2-meter E-Flight Trojan in the combat. And it was a guy at our field flew it so hard the whole front end came off. So it was a beast anyway, but we got her all back together and it was fantastic. We got some special ones for this year, but that's just fun. We were taken out by a little 12-inch foam wing.
That's all. Those do the best in those. The pusher wings, you can't compete with them. They bounce.
We put skewers on our leading edge, which look really cool. But if you really think about the design of a wing, having things that can stick things, not good because we caught that wing and lost all lift on one side, became a spin. It was awesome. And then we get out there. I'll never forget the kid's like, I got to get my picture with you. I took you down. He's like a 6-year-old. I'm like, man, you did. Good call, brother. You know, so.
It does sound fun. I'll give that to you.
All right. I'm going to hold it. You know what? Maybe I'll take your shiny with me. I'll make you come to a flight fest and you can get it there.
No, don't do that. But we'll see. Like I said, it's something we've talked about before. It's. I want to say it's only like 8 or 9 hours away from here of a drive. So I mean, it's not ridiculous.
Yeah, where are you coming from?
We're in Springfield, Illinois, so Central Illinois. So
yeah, it's a drive.
I
was only 12 for us. Perry's only a lot worse than that.
I was going to say, I think Perry for us is like 18 or 19.
Yeah, I keep forgetting you're way over there.
When we go to Joe, I was going to say, when we go to Joe Knoll, we're about 13-ish hours.
14.
Yeah. Yeah, so. Actually, Perry for me was 12. 12, I think. Yeah, Joe Knoll's a little
farther east.
Yeah. Yeah, up a little farther north. But, it's only a drive. You got buddies, too, you can drive.
Oh, I know.
So,
there's only so many things we can do in a year. So.
Oh, trust me, I appreciate that. I
will
totally know.
I will probably hold you to that, just so you know. Well, I might regret
that's it. That's all right. I won't regret it. I promise that. That's what makes it all fun, man.
I know, right? It's the people you meet and the things you get to do with them.
That's like I remember seeing you, though. I laugh because I get to Joe Knoll and I'm like, I'm out of my element. I was out of my element for like 3 seconds, and you were one of the first people I saw. I'm like, you're here? And then all of a sudden, I realized something. It's all the same players, just a different location. And that's what was the most wild thing. And then like Eric from National Ball, so I had no idea the guy could build. I've never seen his stuff. And he has some of the most beautiful, big airplanes. Absolutely gorgeous. I didn't know that. Yeah. I had no idea. I'm like, because you see him, I see him at Toledo selling balsa wood, selling kits. Wait, he actually builds those kits. He's an unbelievable scale builder. No idea. And he can fly. Who knew that? I didn't.
Yeah. It's like I said, when you see people in their element and you kind of start to realize that you see the same people and over again, it's pretty cool.
And that's even all these swaps we go to. We had people who went out to Chicago last year. It's a 9-hour, Chicago was about a 6-hour drive for us. We had guys in Toledo then come and say, I said, if you come to the show, let me know. I had a dozen guys go, hey, we came out to Chicago. We had to check this out. This year, they're bringing a bus out. A literal bus of people are coming to Toledo, picked up from the Chicago show, that Fox Valley. I think that's just wild, man.
That was a good swap meet there too. Yeah,
love that swap. I wasn't going to go back because it was far, but I love it, and they're so nice. What a great club.
Yeah, this was our first time going to that one. I'm glad we did.
Yeah, you ask about a buyer or seller's market. That's another one. I mean, it just depends because I see it both ways there too. Because we were sellers, but man, at the end we were buyers, not because we wanted to. We just couldn't help it. They're making us buy things, so we did. I picked up some.
No, go on. You're fine.
I picked up some, early power safe receivers for $5 and $10, 20 channel. Yeah. And the guy was thrilled to sell them, and I was very happy to sell them. Then he sold them to me, and I sold them again. And it's stuff like that.
That's what I noticed. One of the planes I bought, like, you do the normal haggling back and forth in price and stuff, and you find, you're going to buy it no matter what they say, but we'll see how cheap we can get it.
The haggling's the fun part, man.
And then like you come to an agreement on that, and you hand them the money and stuff, and like they were genuinely like, thank you very much for buying this. They were very happy that like they didn't have to take it home or something like that. I'm like, man, if you're that thankful, I should have tried a little bit lower.
Should have gone lower.
Okay. Should have gone lower, but that's okay. I'm happy you're happy, so we're good. But yeah, just a bunch of really nice guys up there.
Well, the guy selling those really expensive receivers, he had 6 of them. Plus, he had some power box gyros. Never heard of them. They're $150 a piece, I found out. Dirt cheap. Mm-hmm. And there's 2 guys just hemming and hawing. I looked at the guy and said, I'll buy the whole table, all of it. He just looked at me. You want it all? No, sure, I'll take it all. He goes, okay. I bought it all. I let the guy stand there. I says, do you want any of this? Because I'm about to buy everything. He kind of looked at me like, you ain't going to buy everything. I'm like, I bought it all because it was just too good of a price.
See my shirt?
Now, it was older than I thought, so I didn't make quite as much as I wanted to, but I did all right. And the cool thing is all those power box gyros I never heard of, they went to India.
Really?
One guy in India bought them all. Manish, his name is Manish. I talk to him almost every night. We message back and forth. Yep.
That's so funny. That's awesome.
Yeah.
You just never know who you're going to meet.
No. Nope. Not at all, sir.
A couple more questions. I don't want to keep you too long. I know we're getting About
I
an
enjoy,
hour.
man. I love this. Is like I told you, I'm
Okay.
not just saying it. It's one of my favorites. Because I feel like I'm just talking in the basement somewhere.
Well, I mean, I don't know where you are, but we are in my basement, so that's probably
Maybe
why it
that's.
feels that
I am.
way.
I am in my kitchen, so there's the only place that
Okay.
has a decent wall. This is my
Well,
podcast place.
like I said, it's just you and me looking at each
Oh, I
other right
know.
now because
I'm not.
we're not doing
That's.
this
I
on
should have
video
sat
for
on my
that.
couch.
Get comfortable, exactly. Mm. Pardon me while I take a drink.
No, you've done really well. I know you're not feeling well, but man, doing
Yeah,
excellent.
I'm
Keep it up. Keep it
trying
up.
to keep the cough to a minimum. And now that you say that, I feel one coming on, but that's okay. We're going to get through this. So with all the actual swap meets you guys go to and all the stuff you do, 30 some odd, you said, a year, and with all the planning for this and all the other stuff, do you ever get time to actually go out and just enjoy flying?
Yeah, I'm almost embarrassed to tell you this, but I will. Remember, I
That's
told
the
you.
best stories, by the way, when somebody starts to say, I'm embarrassed about that.
We have to reorganize how we do what we do, and it will happen at the end of the season because last summer, the one thing I didn't do, I did more flying at Flight Fest in that 4-day span than I did at my own house. What you guys don't know is my mom and dad owned a 30-acre farm. My dad started the hobby shop. I took over on that farm. We have a 2,000-foot runway that we fly full scale
I
off
remember
of.
talking about that last year.
There's our field, and I didn't fly. So it's true. It's not a lie. I'm being honest with you. And that's why Toledo this year, I kind of spread it out a little better. And I still didn't fly as much as I wanted to, but because I'm so, I mean, it wears you down. It wears the family down. I know that. The nice thing is my family and we recharge every summer. We usually try to take a trip to Disney, which is why I have to sell so much, but we love Disney. It's a happy place, but but I'm really going to work on that. And it's kind of weird. Like I said, I'm changing for the show. This is me growing up. I'm 55 years old, but I mean, growing up in the world of whether or not I want to be, this beautiful mug is the face of something fantastic. And I have to start getting my life in order a little better to make that happen without so much work. Like I have to let go of some of the power, which is really hard for me. I mean, this year I have people that aren't official green shirt wearers helping me. And it was extremely difficult, but some of them came to me last year when I was in, you might not have known it, but last year before the show started on Thursday, I almost had a doggone nervous breakdown because there were so many things that were going against us that we had no control over. And that's what people don't realize at a show. You don't control a lot of things that happens. The infrastructure can tell you what they want to do. And when somebody comes out and says the fire marshal's here and you have to move 60 feet of truck and trailer when it's blocked in by 52 other vehicles and you have in your contract that it's supposed to be there, it might sound like a simple fix. It is not. And that just started a whole snowball thing. And I had one of my buddy's daughter step up and help me. And she was so good at what she did that, this year on Thursday, I'm no longer the contact. If they need to talk to somebody, they go to her first because I have to remove myself because it's just too much stress. So I'm letting other people help me. And it's hard because I want it to be so perfect. Like I put a tablecloth down, it has to be so perfect. Like I let that go. I'm letting things go. And, it's going to kill me not to go sell stuff. I can tell you. I mean, I haven't done it yet. I hope I can. Getting rid of my favorite T-shirts is one of the ways to not be a swapper for 2 days. But I have to. I always have to remember the most important thing is swapping is important. But the Toledo RC Swap at Expo, if we want, and like I tell everybody, we want it to be around. I have to help make sure that. And part of that is I have to take a role. I have to grow into the role that I'm trying to be. So, man, I almost teared up right there. I'm good though. I'm good.
Well, if it makes you feel better, I have not flown since January. So last month was actually February was actually the first month because I keep track of flights and all that kind of stuff. It was the first month that went by without me flying in a little over 2 years. So it happens to all of us.
I know. And that's why, I got into the turbines at the end of last year. I'm glad because once you start flying those, it's a bug that is very infectious. So I'm looking forward to that, but God, I don't want to end on that. I'm going to tell you though, I love what I do with this. I'm very lucky. I have a very supportive family. I know my wife is probably, she's my most important committee member because most of the time it's just her and I, and we sit and throw ideas around. And like, as soon as we get off this, she's going to do pricing for me. I got to swap a date, and she's going to put out about 30 price tags that I need out, and she always is supporting with stuff like that. And at the show, she's important. But I think that's also important that people realize I'm married. I have a family. I love that my one daughter is always at the show, hustling raffle tickets. It makes me so proud because she's a hustler. She's going to do great things in life. And that's what it's about. It's a little above that. So this year, though, I got to be part more of the family, up front too.
So with all of that, there's a lot to be proud of on what you've done. Is there anything that particularly stands out from this year's planning, from what you're changing, that you're proud of? Like it feels like you actually accomplished something that you were wanting to do for a long time and finally happened.
Can I answer this two ways? I want to talk about last year first.
However you want. Okay.
Last year, I did cry at Toledo because we had the family of Joe David, who actually was the first gentleman to have a RC event in the Toledo, Detroit area. I purchased his collection several years back, and I met the family, and we have our best of show is named after him. But to bring them back and they see his airplanes on the table, because we sold a lot of them, and after a while, like, why the hell are we selling this cool stuff? Why don't we keep it and fly it? And so we did, and to have that family come back and present his award, on our stage, to me that was probably one of the best feelings I've ever had there. So I wanted to just bring that in because I am an emotional person, and that was very emotional for me. And they're coming back this year. They said they don't want to present the award, but they want to see us all. That's why we do this, right?
Yeah.
Now, happier. No, that was very happy, but very emotional is Flight Test. I talked to Flight Test and Stefan in year 1, 2, 3, 4. I didn't talk to him in 5, and it's funny. I got to give a shout out to my team members because I had 2 team members that they went to me above and beyond, and they started visiting Josh and family and crewed out at his place, Edgewater. They started flying with him. They actually attended some of Josh's. They did a lot of Bible studies. Well, and it was what's kind of cool. It was a natural thing, and I never mentioned it to them, but I saw what was happening. I'm like, I just got to wait till I can manipulate this. So we all talked about
time
it.
Time is coming.
That's what it was. And it's weird because in the end, what started the whole thing, their relationship was with Josh's wife, Jen. She wanted to get him a specific airplane for Christmas. And they knew we do the swapping. So we started finding what she wanted. And bringing Flight Test to Toledo is important because of the STEM temp situation. We're going to give the kids something that they can take home with them. And I got to be honest, I'm very proud of the fact that under the same roof, we now have Flight Test and we have the AMA. I won't say breaking bread, but in the same building. And before you can sit down and break bread, you have to be somewhere you can talk to somebody. And I believe that we have the aura you need for that conversation to happen. And I can promise I will walk every AMA vice president I run into, any executive member right on back there, because I want them to see those kids under that STEM tent building and see the joy they have when they go fly their stuff. Because there ain't nothing like it, man. So how's that?
Good answer.
I was practicing that one. Thanks for giving it to me early. I'm just kidding. But you know what? It would have been the same answer. That is, as we say, a big fish. And there's been every year, there's always something. I still look at the small vendors that still come to our show. They're getting older. And one guy cuts a check, B&B Specialties. He cuts the check and says, if I'm not dead this year, cash it in March. I'm like, okay. So he's still around. So we catch that bad boy.
Nice. Yeah, it'll be interesting. I've never, like I said, I've never been to Flight Fest or anything like that, but I've never met any of those guys either. So it'll be interesting to see them in person and actually go up, shake their hand and say hi. So
I watched Josh. He's a little younger than me. I remember Josh when I was just coming out of college as a young flyer right down the road from us. So I remember seeing him. And I didn't put it all together till later, like it's Bixler. I'm like, who? And then I remembered. He's done fantastic for himself. and his family, and his community. And they have a good thing. Anytime you get kids flying is a good thing to me.
Yep, I agree.
And then you get them building something on top of that. That's
you get
amazing.
them hooked.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right, couple last questions.
Sure.
Okay, and they're not hard ones, so I'll let you go on that one.
I don't know why I'm getting nervous, but go ahead.
No, okay. We've been there. Toledo is something we know inside and out at this point on how things work. What would be your best advice? Best advice for a first-time attendee?
First-time attendee that wants to just swap or wants to go to the whole show. They want to feel Toledo as its entirety.
Somebody just showing up as I want to see what Toledo is like.
Walking in the door.
Yep. So not somebody that's setting up to swap, not somebody that's
Perfect.
actually coming to sell anything.
I would wait till about 9:30 on Friday. I'd stroll in. I'd stop at the nice little coffee shop. I'd grab myself a coffee. I'd stroll over to the vendors. I'd pay. I'd pick up a map. I'd go through the main door, and then I'd just pick an aisle and start. I walk back and forth, back and forth. When I get hungry, I go over to the concession stand. At the end of the curtain space, you can decide if you want to go into the swap area. That's. I mean, if you're there to see the show, you don't have to be there when those doors open, because I don't know if you've ever been there.
Yeah.
It takes 20 minutes to get the first round in, and it's pretty cool. I mean, we had our drone pilot last year videotape that for us, so we've used the video this year, and it's pretty cool. But come just after the rush and sit back and enjoy. What I found out is these vendors want to sell their product. Don't get me wrong, we all want to sell, but it's the talk, it's the communication. Zor propellers, great example. I got a question from Zor this year. Hey, can we come? We don't have much product. We just want to talk to people. I'm like, well, heck yeah, right? I mean, of course you can come. You're allowed. We really got to know Zor. They actually came to Flight Fest. They sponsored some of Flight Test stuff. But it was just a cool question because, you want to sell. But what I found is the more you talk, the more you sell anyway. It all goes together. And I talked to the vendors. I didn't talk as much last year until I got to Jonal, but for the most part, most vendors were pretty happy. I was a little nervous because like Gator RC came last year. They're a pretty big fish. And they inquired about getting more space this year, so I know it must have been okay for them. That's always a good situation, right? So that's probably my advice. If you're a swapper, buy a $25 table, buy a table for Friday and get there Thursday. That's my advice. Because I know some swaps absolutely no selling on Thursday. I'm not going to lie to you. I can barely breathe on Thursday. I'm not going to monitor what's bought and sold.
Not going to say some of the best deals are Thursday.
No.
You catch them as you're walking in. You're like, how much you want for that? I'll take it.
I mean, guys go home and reload. It's amazing. It's just amazing. Now,
do you have a lot of people that do just one day tables? Because I know we're there for the weekend, so we buy tables for both days. But you said buy a table for Friday. I'm like, well just do that.
There are some, but you would be shocked. I can tell you this. Like what I usually do if I have a Friday table sale, I'll put somebody Saturday on that same table, just so I can mark the table off for the weekend. There really isn't that much. There was enough because if you remember where the auction was last year, those are all Friday people. So you probably got, 12, 15 tables. Those are all Fridays because we get rid of the tables, then the auction goes there.
Right.
But not much. We do have people, I'm going to be honest, there are people that have walked up, and the way we work is this. It's real easy. You can't come into the show early, but if you are buying a table for Friday and then pay the admission to come to the show, you can come into the show because we still need the revenue. But there are guys that'll buy a table on Thursday. Doesn't matter to us. And anybody who gets it Thursday can come on the show. This year they can come in early, come in Wednesday. I don't anticipate a lot of swappers come on Wednesday, but some of the bigger vendors do. I mean, I got a group out of New York. Last year they had 20 tables. I think they're up to 26 tables this year.
Nice.
It's a whole group. Yep. He recruits his own guys, and I help him out a little bit too. One of my pet peeves is $25 a table sounds expensive. Well, if you go to as many swaps as we go to anymore, that's the norm. Well, it's $50 really. Well, the swap is 2 full days, you know, so.
And they're 8-foot tables.
Oh yeah.
That's
you got
the
a
other
lot
thing.
of
Like
space.
we've gone to plenty of places where the price is nearly that, but it's a 6-foot table. So.
And it's 4 hours. And they're big boy spaces. Now we're down. I mean, this is truly the swap table distance is the footprint. It's 8 foot. So between the 2 rows, you have 8 feet. So you have 4. The other side has 4. But even my big belly fits just fine because I was the test pilot. But the reason I'm sorry, I was just going to say, I've never been behind our table and felt cramped. So it's a good amount. Well, it's just a lot. The very first year, remember, those tables were, how much were they? 20 feet? Because of COVID, it was ridiculous.
Yeah. See, like I said, I didn't get to see that one. So.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. And each year they get smaller, but next year will be the first year where every set of tables has an end cap. Why? Because I can. And it's just, I'm building towards that question you asked a while ago. What happens when? So just by capping rows, that's almost another 50 table spaces.
Yeah.
You know,
and when you have the amount of people going there, then you need to start doing that.
Yeah.
So.
And it'll be interesting this year. Dubrow is back. They want to be in the middle aisle. And so they're back in the swap section a little bit. You know, they're great guys, Brian, but they're back there. And I might even have static back there if I have, I've got a plan for, can you imagine this if I don't have enough space up front for static? Well, another great problem to have. So I'm already planning for that. We'll see how it plays out.
Well, awesome. I know we're looking forward to it. It is one of our highlights of the year, like we said before. And it's coming up pretty quick, not to make you nervous.
April 10th and 11th. So we're 3 weeks away. So,
and what are the hours this year?
Well, on April 10th, it's 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. April 11th, it's 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. If you are a vendor or a swapper, you can start getting at 7. And like I already said, any vendor or swapper who wants to start coming Wednesday, and this will all come in an email to them, they'll have to let me know. Thursday door opens at 7:30.
And then Friday night's the auction. You guys close down for a little bit.
Yep. So what's going to happen Friday night at 5:00? Everybody will be cleared except my crew, and they'll put the auction stage up. At that time, the airplanes will be judged. The judging will be going on, and then we'll open back up at 7, only using the one door, and then nobody will be able to get back into the arena where the merchandise is. So the auction will be on the back wall. You'll be facing the back wall, not the merchandise, and I'll have my people there watching that. And the bar opens at 7, shuts down at 11. So nice. I truly am trying to create I'd love for, the auctions to probably go a couple hours out, whatever it goes. I don't know. That's not only up to me, but then I want a space where that's where we're going to hang out. I mean, I'm paying $24,000 for it. Might as well enjoy it on a Friday night, right?
There you go. It's the best venue to have at this point. So
yes, sir.
Be awesome. Dave, do you have anything you want to bring up before we go?
Nope. I think you guys have all covered it. I've just been sitting over here enjoying myself in the corner.
He's not in the corner, by the way.
Nobody puts Dave in the corner. Nobody.
I know. He's on the other side of the table, not a corner. Well, Hank, in that case, I'll let you have last word.
Well, again, guys, I just want to thank you for letting me have this chance to talk to you. And what I like about this is it always gets into the real stuff. And I've done multiple podcasts this year, but this one really, it just feels real to me, the way we talk about things. Thanks for giving me a place to talk about some of the things I wanted to share with in regards to the kids and STEM and flight test. And, I hope this venue this year, I hope everybody gives us a chance. Come on out. I still get people who don't realize there's a show in Toledo. So anybody that listens, make sure you let them know, hey, there's still something going on in Toledo first or second week in April. And I hope to see you there, man.
Awesome. Well, Hank, thank you once again for coming on. We greatly appreciate you taking the time out of your evening because I know you have lots to do to get ready. And I guess we'll see you in a couple of weeks.
Yes, sir.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of the RC Plane Lab podcast. For topic suggestions, to ask questions, or to give any feedback, connect with us at rcplanelab.com or email us direct at either ron@rcplanelab.com or tom@rcplanelab.com. You can also text us or leave us a voicemail at 818-351-9846. Please subscribe, rate, and review us on your favorite podcast app. Until next time, may your landings be gentle.